Hello viewers, today we're going to be speaking about Stanislav's Porsche Boxster S 2000 model year and his defense of the car.
Right, so kind of just going right off what Theo said, this car gets a lot of hate, and I don't think a lot of that hate is deserved. So I think just we're going to start right from the top, going into the looks of the car, because as we all know, these little fried egg looking things, they were kind of they were a really big departure from the previous gen 911 with had the classical kind of like frog eye-ish styling, but I think they kind of aged really well. And I think with kind of more radical designs, radical for that time period, this came out, people just didn't like it because it looked too different. All these like purists, which is fair, they like it, but I think this car actually kind of keeps I believe the 356 Speedster kind of body lines a little bit too.
Yeah.
We'll have an image up on the screen for you, but it kind of starts with these kind of two humps, very Porsche characteristic, classical design language there. And I also think it looks better than the 911 from this generation, the 996, because the rear is a lot more less big and less protruding. We'll have another image on screen for you just to see how kind of big and kind of unsightly the 911's like kind of rear profile looked. Again, that is, I think, partially because the 911, has a 2+2 kind of seating configuration, but that's really like the biggest complaints in terms of the styling department. And then people don't realize that half of these parts, all the part numbers start with 996. It's, the hood starts with a 996.986 whatever. I'm probably not exactly right in those numbers. The fenders are identical. The doors are exactly the same shape here. Like, you can go into a junkyard, if you're lucky enough to have a junkyard with 911s in it, and find it. Especially with the interior too. The interior is literally a exact copy of the 911s from this time period, and that's primarily because of the drastic kind of financial situation Porsche was in at the time. This car was pretty much co-developed with Toyota. Toyota co-developed, I think, their assembly lines to kind of cut off like excess cost, which led to a lot of part sharing. So again, like you'll see basically the only difference with the interiors of the 986, 911 are the gauge pods. There's only 3 pods here as opposed to the 5 on the 911. Wow, it is really cold.
It's apologies for the wind. Hopefully hopefully you don't hear teeth chattering.
Yeah, I hope not.
Bones.
But
hopefully please God, let the mics be doing a decent job. But
yeah,
I mean, the interior is fantastic. It's fantastic fit and finish. I mean, it's hardly aged, honestly. I think this color, the black interior from this time, I think has helped it age a lot more gracefully than maybe like the Dell Computers gray.
Yeah, that is just like, I'm sorry, it's just a hideous interior color. I don't think it probably didn't even look good when it was new.
No,
but
the black looks great. I think a chocolate also works, but it does kind of show the age a bit.
Yeah.
But the black is much more contemporary, and I think the overall quality of the interior is top notch. As you mentioned on the way over here, there's no rattles of any kind, really.
Yeah, 130,000 miles today, actually.
Today.
And it's also 2 years ago today to when I purchased this car.
Oh, so this is essentially like a 2-year review.
This is essentially a 2-year review defending this car. So also kind of going along with this is when I was shopping for something of this nature, I cross-shopped it with a Z3 and like a Miata, I guess, too. But so my reasoning against the Miata, unfortunately, was everyone has one because they're fantastic vehicles. I know you may like.
No, that's fine. They're not interesting to me. Like, this is far more interesting. It's far more unique.
Right.
It has a cooler, aura to it. Miatas are just, people who aren't car people would also buy a Miata. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you're looking for a car of this type, of that generation, you're going to be buying this.
Right.
I think most people would be buying a Miata even, and that's not a knock on the Miata. That's just for my tastes, I prefer something of this nature. It is very chilly.
It is very. That's why I'm going to turn it away, not to have the wind blast into the mic.
Yes.
But yeah, so I cross-shopped it with that. I also kind of cross-shopped it with an S2000, and then I realized the best part about this vehicle, even today, is the value proposition it has. Like the Z3, around the same year that I was looking at, they were still like pretty cheap, pretty, within the same price range of this. But the Z3, I didn't go with that because the interior just feels a lot more cramped. Despite this already being a pretty small-ish car, it's just a lot more roomier than you would think in there.
Yeah, I mean, we're 6 foot or so plus,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel cramped at all, really.
No.
I mean, we're not really rubbing elbows. The leg room's great. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say for a taller person, if you're looking for a car of this nature, I mean, Miatas are pretty small.
They're pretty, especially like the NAs and the NBs. I fit pretty comfortably in an ND touring with a hardtop on it, but I mean, that's also, you're getting into new car money. This car, you can find, especially the higher mileage you go, you can probably find one for around 15-ish, 10 to 15K for an S. That again being said, with some mileage. Without mileage, they're kind of up around 20K now. And at that price, you can maybe find like a super high mileage S2000.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, I would consider S2000 is kind of in a different, range of, I think if you want to get a good one.
Yeah, if you want to get a good one.
They're kind of classic. I mean, they're definitely classics at this point. So I wouldn't, I would say an S2000 is kind of like a good one would be a little unreasonable.
Right.
So, I mean, that's more positive marks for this car, I would say.
Right. And I guess kind of going along with that is another thing this car excels in is, I mean, obviously handling. That again being led to how great of a value it is, because what other mid-engine car can you get for 15K?
A Fiero.
A Fiero, okay.
You could buy 15 Fieros for the price of this.
I mean, Fieros are really cool. They look cool, but that's kind of about it. I don't think the Fiero is about as a driver's car as this is. So like,
no, definitely.
That's the other thing. Like this
is much faster.
Yes, yes.
It can go above 80.
Right. And another kind of benefit of this is like I kind of do the majority of my own work on this vehicle. This is my first vehicle where I'm learning how to wrench on. So that was kind of like a negative, but in a way, like it is packaged so well and relatively intuitive that everything I've been able to do on this has been relatively straightforward. The documentation is there. There is pretty decent aftermarket, which goes to, the problems this car did have. But the problems that this car did have isn't only, that this car's problem. The 996s of this, era all had the same problem because, again, it's mostly the same car. The biggest difference is packaging.
Yeah.
And I would say this is packaged better. I can do a Costco run. I fill in the front, fill in the trunk. Look at that. I'm having a good time.
No, it's and you can did you ever put your bike on this?
I did. So these little
it is so windy.
It is freezing, so we're not going to look at the camera. But there's these little black clips that I leave on just because they're a pain to take on and off.
Yeah, so that's what they are.
But they're support for the not aftermarket, but for the OEM roof rack this car came with. It was a factory option. It took me longer to find this roof rack than it actually took me to find a car.
Yes.
And it is just a sight to behold. You have your, this little cage with the top open, of course. Mm-hmm. You're driving along and you just see your bike like a little wiggling with the wind. But like,
it's like a sail.
It is like a sail, and it definitely does affect handling, but who cares when you have a friggin' bike on top? That just looks cool as heck.
It does look great.
And I just think it's, it's a really well packaged car. It offers a driving experience like no other for this price range. And I mean, I think it's unique enough because, people kind of slept on these. They see it very much as like a hairdresser's car.
Yeah.
Which is like, who cares? Okay, they have good taste. I mean, it's a great vehicle. And it also,
in my opinion, all sports cars are somewhat a hairdresser's car. but it just,
Yeah, but
I don't know, maybe.
yeah, no, I think this is a great vehicle. I'm 2 years, no major problems really. Yeah,
All right, so let's
take it on a little drive right
yeah,
now.
let's go for a drive. Let's get let's get into some different wind.
It's gonna be worse. So, hello, welcome back. We are driving the 2000 Porsche Boxster S. Of my Doug impersonation. And yeah, we've promoted Theo to camera boy duty
camera
here.
work is not the best. It also helps that I'm shivering. This is terrible.
I mean, it's
wait,
okay.
wait.
We'll be fine. We're having a good time
Let me
here.
put my knee there. That's a nice TT.
Left or right?
You know the area. That's not good. It's not good for camera stability, is it?
Yeah, so now that we got that out of our system, we're going to talk a little bit about the drive. Dear goodness, I hope the mics are picking this up well.
I hope so.
So, I mean, the camera looks good.
It looks good enough.
Yeah, but
Audio quality is more important than videography.
that is true. That is
according to
true.
people who know what they're doing.
Good thing we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. Apologies for the wearing of hats on camera, but
What?
hopefully it's understandable considering the vehicle that we're in.
So, I'll tell you a little bit about the drivetrain, I guess. It's a 3.2 liter flat six, made it to a 6-speed transmission. This car, new, made about 250 horsepower. Torque? Oh, you're gonna have to see it on the screen. I forget the exact torque. But you know why I forget it? It's because it doesn't matter. It's because this car is already enough. If this car was any faster, I think I would seriously get myself into some actual trouble.
Yeah, I can attest to that because you've scared me multiple times already. And like that, just thinking about what would a 911 turbo feel like.
Like, where could you even
that would not
drive
even
it?
be enjoyable, really, to me. I mean, that being said, I've never really driven anything that wasn't tall and boxy. So
This is boxy. It's Boxster.
it is a Boxster.
But yeah, handling wise, it sticks to the road. This is my first experience with like kind of more a sporty car. So previously, like a Camry was all I ever like knew, and a Sienna. So anything that doesn't have severe body roll in a corner
Yeah,
is,
that's
already on rails for
foreign
me.
to me.
Again, and I think this is interesting too, because our taste in vehicles is pretty different when it comes to each other.
Yeah, I mean, how so?
I like
You like coffins.
small cars.
You like coffins, and I like hearses, essentially.
I think that's a pretty fair way of putting it.
Yeah, I stole that from you. You said that before. But I think it is a pretty true statement.
In terms of driving when it's 46 degrees out in western Pennsylvania with a top down, it's not too bad.
No, I can say that I'm not as miserable as I was. That being said, I really hope the audio sounds passable.
Right. And I hope you could hear the car a little bit too.
Yeah, I think you can. Sucker's quick, man.
It's quick enough. Again,
Yeah, it's too quick, in fact.
I was actually partially cross-shopping with a C5 Corvette.
I'm very glad you didn't buy that.
I'm very glad I didn't buy it. My wallet's pretty happy because those were they were like a good 5K more for something kind of clean than this was.
And they're not the best looking cars.
Oh, I think they look great. I think the C6 probably does look better, but the fact that it's a car that was made when we were still both alive that still came out of the factory with pop-ups is great.
Yeah.
Because I think that probably was the last car with pop-ups in our lifetime that like still came out new.
It's kind of novelty though at this point. Man, this really does.
It sticks.
It's pretty flat.
Oh,
suspension's good. Ride's good.
The suspension, unfortunately, is on some aftermarket coilovers that the previous owner installed.
You did an okay job.
But no, they do good. The dampening is good.
Yeah.
The body control is pretty decent. Again, I don't have much to compare it to, but I think you should flip the camera around and then we can just kind of see a little bit of the interior
that will
working.
mean that I have to stop.
There.
I thought you wanted this to look good.
Oh, look, we hit 130,000 miles. 130,001.
On camera.
On camera sometime. So, yeah, this is a brilliant car. I'm still happy to the day. I'm as happy today as I was when I bought it 2 years ago. And every single time I think about, like, maybe I should sell it. It would be nice to have some money back just to, like, use for something more practical. But then I drive it, especially when the weather's a little bit more cooperating, because it is dropping as I drive this still.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could get rid of this. I think even when the engine does inevitably blow up.
I don't think it will. I think you'll get a lot more use out of this car.
I hope so, because I do see quite a few people have quite some miles on them. The base models usually have more, but I think they just made more base models so people were less afraid to give it miles.
Right.
But,
well, as the sun sets on 130,000 miles, you're still quite chuffed with the car. And I'm very supportive of your purchase. I think it, first of all, it suits you quite well. It is rather lively, like yourself. It is frightening to me.
it's always more frightening being the passenger, too.
I guess that's true.
Although, if I'm your passenger and you're frightening me with your driving in that vehicle, then we must actually be doing something really frightening.
In what vehicle?
In the Range.
In the Range Rover.
Because this car...
Crossing a river.
It's not that fast in the grand scheme of things. This is a relatively tame car.
Feels fast to me.
But it feels fast,
yeah.
which is probably one of the most important things when it comes to like buying one of these. Because like, yeah, 911 is fast, and the more
nice hairpin-ish here.
the more
this is lovely.
It's great.
Yeah.
You can't even tell Theo's scared.
No, that was nice. Look at this turn. These are some decent roads.
So
very nice.
Yeah, I think, in defense of this car, I think it is worth every penny, and pretty much only buy a 911 if you want the nameplate, if you need that more power, if you need the back seats for storage. But for something you're just gonna putz around in, on a weekend basis or whatever, this is more than you'll pretty much ever use. At least me being tame on the roads. I obey all traffic laws.
Yes, as we come to a very tempting straightaway.
So that just about wraps up my kind of 2-year experience owning my Porsche Boxster S. I think, this car gets a lot of unwarranted hate just because it's not a 911. But that's almost the best part of this car is it's almost a 911 for way less money than a 911. It handles great. It's enough to have fun in it, enough to scare your passengers a little bit, but you're still in control the entire time, which is great. This car was an option with traction control, but whatever. But yeah, no.
It doesn't have traction?
No, it doesn't have traction.
Jeez Louise.
The guy didn't option it.
Oh, okay. Glad you told me that now.
Good. We still have about 10 more miles to drive home.
Yeah,
so,
great.
Again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for joining. My name is Stanislav.
I'm Theo. Thanks for watching.
Have a great night.
Very good.
I hope it's nighttime there.